Hello, I'm Tim Jones, and I love baseball. I have been a big fan ever since I was a kid. Check out this photo of me from my Little League days. Don't I look adorable? Okay, so I have no idea who this kid is. I just Googled kid playing baseball, and I thought I could pass it off as me. Sorry, not off to a good start, I guess. Anyways, but I do love the game. I even named this YouTube channel and my humor blog View from the Bleachers as partly an homage to my love of the sport, and partly because my wife told me that the original name that I came up with for this channel, Dad, Will You Love Me Now?, sounded a little like a cry for help. My wife is very smart. Anyways, today's topic, why baseball is better than sex. I have a lot to say about this, so hear me typo in the teleprompter. And what the topic actually was supposed to be is why baseball is better than having sextuplets. Do I really need... Oh, come on. If that's the topic, do I need to defend this position? I mean, seriously, who would rather have 6 screaming babies to watch over than to go to the ballpark and watch a game while scarfing down peanuts, a hot dog, and a cold beer? I mean, really? Do I have to explain this? More on the other side. Welcome back. Baseball has long been called America's pastime. You know, the first baseball game was played way back in 1839. And as any high school student could tell you, that's probably like maybe over 70 years ago. Having grown up in Albany, New York in the early 1960s, I would fall asleep at night listening to the New York Mets on the radio. Well, back then they were so bad that their fans actually called them the lovable losers, as they always finished in last place. But I didn't care. I was hooked at an early age. I love this sport so much that I wanted to name our eldest daughter DiMaggio in honor of Joltin' Joe. I tried to convince my wife that her friends would simply call her Maggie, but I was overruled. So we named her Yastrzemski instead. I know that many of you are thinking, but baseball, it's the most boring sport imaginable. One detractor filmed a 9-inning baseball game and concluded that there were only 17 minutes of actual action in a typical 2.5-hour game. So before I make my case for why baseball is the greatest sport, let me play devil's advocate and make the opposing case. Some people just don't get the appeal of this great American game, and here are some of the jaded complaints that they level at this unique sport. Baseball is deadly dull. It takes forever for anything to actually happen. Well, it's true most city councils could pass a sales tax ordinance in less time than it takes a relief pitcher to warm up. That's true. And to support their claim that this sport is a tad bit dull, well, here's a graph that breaks down the relative proportion of the time devoted to the most important aspects of a typical baseball game. For example, roughly 10% of the time is spent pitching, hitting, and running the bases. Another 4% is used while relief pitchers warm up before getting lit up for 3 runs in the top of the 9th. 11% of the time is devoted to watching the manager scratch his groin or pick his nose. And another 4% is devoted to watching the third base coach perform random hand gestures mimicking Curly on the Three Stooges. And it doesn't get any better. Baseball teams have the lamest names. This criticism tends to be leveled in particularly at minor league baseball teams or teams from yesteryear. And here's a small sampling of actual minor league team names throughout history. And none of these, I swear, are made up. The Kalamazoo Kazoos. That's an actual photo of the team from 1892. The New Haven Nutmegs. The Binghamton Bingos. The Sandusky Fish Eaters. The Newport Clam Diggers. This is a photo for their 1886 team. The Oswego Starch Boxes, whatever that is. The Zanesville Kickapoos. And my own personal favorite, the Terre Haute Hottentots. And this is also an early team photo of that team. Okay, I admit, so they really had lame names. But did you ever see the Clam Diggers in action during their heyday? Their starting rotation was nothing short of clamtastic. The endless announcer banter, spouting obscure, meaningless baseball statistics. Well, It's true. Baseball announcers tend to toss around obscure stats that simply baffle and annoy baseball haters like my wife. Here's a transcript of an actual broadcaster's exchange during a recent Toledo Mudhens game, and yes, that's a real team name. You know, Brad, that the Mudhens relief pitcher, Willie Wakabata, leads the league in wild pitches in night games in which fewer than 4 runs have been scored when the opposing lineup has 5 or more right-handed Puerto Rican batters who grew up in homes without fathers. No, Earl, I did not know that. But did you know, Earl, that their second baseman, Freddie Fausalot, is second in the league among left-handed batters with speech impediments in steals when there are less than 2 outs in stadiums with retractable roofs? Of course, Brad, everyone knows that. All the real team sports have game clocks. Baseball has no clock. What's up with that? Well, that's simply because baseball is such an old sport. It was invented before people could tell time. All those cheesy fan incentives that get people to come to the park. Well, it's true. No sport comes close to baseball in their campy fan giveaways to pack people into the stands. You know the deal. The first 5,000 fans will get their own Manny Ramirez bobblehead. Personally, I prefer the pre-steroids Manny Ramirez bobblehead to the steroids version. It's just a personal thing. I once went, and this is true, to a minor league baseball game in which they gave out free Groucho Marx nose glasses to every fan, I swear to God. But perhaps the Lebanon pretzel eaters, an actual team, might have missed the mark with their garter snake night, which resulted in a bit of an unexpected stampede. Yeah, they probably should have thought that one through a little bit more. Yeah, too bad. So, those are some of the reasons the detractors criticize my beloved game. But they are wrong, of course. Admittedly, baseball is not very sexy when you compare it to the thrills and crashes of NASCAR, or the nail-biting tensions of hockey, or the brute physicality of lingerie football. But it's my sport, and I love all the obscure statistics, the lame dancing mascots, the smell of roasted peanuts, the hackneyed bloopers reel, and all the corny traditions of this 182-year-old game. And yes, like all patriotic Americans outside of the 5 boroughs of New York, I love to hate the Yankees. And I'll continue to root for my hapless Seattle Mariners in their perennial, elusive quest for above averageness. You know, do you know the last time the Mariners made it to the World Series? I'm sorry. That was a trick question. The Mariners are the only Major League Baseball team never to have been to the World Series. But their drought can't match the Cleveland Indians. The last time they won a World Series, I believe Millard Fillmore was still president, or it might have been Franklin Pierce. I'll have to look that one up. So, what do I love so much about baseball? Okay, everything. It's maybe not better than sex, but it sure beats the hell out of having sextuplets. That's the view from the bleachers. Perhaps I'm off base. I'm Tim Jones, and remember, if you like this video or simply feel sorry for me, please click on the subscribe button below and share this video with your friends or anyone you'd like to annoy. For more of my humor, you can visit my website, viewfromthebleachers.net. Thanks for joining me. Well, I need to get going. The Seattle Mariners game is just about to start, and they're playing the Houston Astros, one of the best teams in the whole league. But my Mariners, well, they should stand a chance. That is, until it's Houston's turn at bat. What can I say? It's another rebuilding decade for my Mariners.